It's well insulated.
Hey, good afternoon. We will begin the Nevada Classical Academy Opal regular governing board meeting for January 20th, 2026. And we will begin with the roll call. We'll start with Tim.
Tim Geary, board member. I'm Thurston Trevor.
Amy Nelson. There.
Dorothy Stenninger, secretary. Lisa Becker, board member.
Brandon Dunn, school leader.
Jamie Donovan, a member of the public.
And then who's on the screen?
Go ahead, Colleen. Andrew.
Oh, Colleen Thomas, Cam, Nevada.
And Andrew McBride, Cam.
Welcome. Okay, we'll start with the pledge.
You guys want to come in?
First grade coming in. We're going to do our pledge.
Right here, they can line up in multiple lines.
Let's do 5. Get up, guys. You're right here. Fine. Heard that one. I go to see us. There you go. Goodbye. Yes. Go ahead and go on front. And Perry, I'll let you over here. Let's switch spots. Perry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we will move into public comment. And this might be a nice segue for our first grade. Can you introduce yourself and tell us what we got?
Hello, I'm Mr. H, Mr. Hedrick, and we are going to recite a poem for you guys. So, are you guys ready?
Aye.
You guys will do good. Ready? A good plan. Did you guys forget?
We took a star and several nails and water and three pails and Tom's bad last also tasted an apple and a slice of cake, which was enough for Tom and he to go a-sailing on till he sing the Lord for days and days. How the best of place, but Tom fell and hurt me. No one has me. Wow.
Yeah, we're still working on that.
How do you guys memorize that?
It's smart.
Part of the, a lot of hard work.
Yeah. Oh, Colton, what's wrong?
Just a little bit.
They got really shy there for a second.
Where's the Geary bunch?
Yeah, traumatizing.
Almost.
You guys did very well.
Yeah.
Nice work. Keep it up.
Oh, you guys want one more? Do the swing.
No, shadow one, please.
You guys want it? Oh, okay, do the shadow. No shit.
Children's not to play. And we can only make the whole he stays so close to the sky. See one more I know that found a trying finally
I can't believe this. We actually looked at it. Oh, pretty good. They remember everything that they told us.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Let's go on with that line for you.
Nice job, you guys.
Very good. Thanks for sharing.
You did a wonderful job.
Thanks.
That's
Oh my goodness, looks like you've lost a couple already too.
Islands,
Yeah.
bubbles.
Yours is close.
Thank you.
You don't have a name, you just.
Here's mom. You said we're to be good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guys.
Thank you. Hold that.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay.
In September.
Yeah. Okay, any public comment? Okay, moving into, we don't have any official guests, of course, so approval of the minutes. So in the stack are the minutes, take a look through them. We'll take a look.
I apologize, I didn't email them. I misplaced them and Dorothy saved the day, so.
No, I think it was my fault, actually.
Oh.
Oh, so that.
Okay, we have a little nothing, started by Tim. All in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Okay, go to financial. Unbetained, so we'll do a review bank balances from Elko Federal Credit Union for donations to the generated funds account. Think?
I feel that's a little bit more.
Yes, oh. Then tilt your head to slide into the files.
All right, so our report, this covers the month of December 2025. In our EFCU savings, we brought forward $89,000 as you know, we had a lot of generous gifts that month, for final balance of $551,643.08. Now there is something interesting in there. One of the donation checks for 25,000 bounced, which is why there's a 25,000 debit there, because that was put into the account and then pulled out when it bounced. That same owner a couple days later wired that 25,000 into the bank, so the money was there. Which did prompt the bank to give me a call and say, hey, we got this really weird wire that you guys said you wouldn't be receiving wires. Like, is this a one-time thing? Or, and I said, yeah, it's probably a one-time thing. So, our SCU checking account, we brought forward 21,744.59, deposited $30. There's a debit there for $6. That's the fee we paid on the check that bounced. Why it came out of our checking account, I don't know, but it did. For a final balance of $21,798.59. The Nevada State Bank checking operational funds, we brought forward $134,430.73, deposited $57,092.23. No interest in that, of course, and debits coming out of that of $164,538.24 for a final balance of $26,984.71. Then organizational checking account, some deposits there of 836 for a final balance of 4,044.63. Our month totals then, we brought forward just shy of $250,000. We deposited 545,458.23. There was some interest earned there. Had a shy of 190,000 leaving for a final balance of 604,471.01. So for a monthly PL, that's a profit of 356,000. So that's where we're at going into this month. Any questions on that?
I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment.
Yes.
So I was talking to Kelly the other day, and he had been at the credit union, and he suggested that in that donations account of the 545,000 plus, that we put that into, I can't remember, it's called a CD or whatever it is, but they are, they're very friendly. I have a couple, and you can do them for whatever amount and for a period of like 6 months, and you're going to end up with 4% interest. And I think that makes a lot more sense than what we're getting. And
Yes,
so I think that
especially
if the board agrees, and I think we ought to make a motion on it, I think that Hank, you should put whatever funding we approve or whatever into a time CD for 6 months and get a little more interest.
I agree. I wouldn't even be opposed to doing that for 12 or 13 months.
But it doesn't matter. The interest is
6 month increments.
yeah, 6 month increments, because if you needed something, then it's pretty easy. And there's very little penalty for withdrawing it anyway. But it's six, you're not going to lose any interest at doing it at 6 month basis and then renewing it, and it automatically renews. So we can just
do a percentage,
we can
50% of it.
or even more, like Hank said. I mean, you know, we might as well do what we can and get whatever interest we can. I mean, if the board's in agreement, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah, it's not quite as liquid, but it's pretty.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like 4% as opposed to 2.
What do you feel comfortable with, Hank?
I'd like to get Randall's input on it. I think I'd probably be okay putting 350 or 4 in. That gives us 200,000 just sitting there that we can still access.
So we need to agendize it, or can it fall under this because there's possible action?
No, it can fall under this. And I will make that motion since I brought it forward to put, what did you say you got? 400,000 into a signed certificate at Delco Federal Credit Union so that we can garner a little bit more interest.
That's the motion.
I'll second that.
You agree with that, Ryan?
Can I was just gonna, I was wondering, Brandon, if you have any additional thoughts on that with the dollar amount, or if you think.
I think that's a fine amount. Like that would be what.
It's for 6 months, Brandon. Does that seem
No, I think that's
for
fine.
6 months?
Great.
Yeah. I think-
And like I say, there's very little penalty if you had to take it out earlier, but I think we gained.
And with our average monthly deficit, that 200 would easily cover it for the rest of the school year.
I think that's fine. Actually.
Is somebody, I think
Somebody's
somebody's
talking.
talking.
Somebody's talking.
Is Colleen trying to say something? Hello?
Was it turned all the way up?
Was earlier.
Colleen, Andrew, are you trying to talk?
Nope, not me.
Yeah,
I'm
no
not trying
problem.
to say, nope, I'm just sitting here listening.
Oh, I told you, I don't know.
The radio, we got confused.
Just their comments.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So we have a motion, a second, any more discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, hearing none. We will. Thank you, you can make that adjustment.
Yeah, we'll take care of that this week.
Okay, excellent.
I think
And you'll
those,
have a new category.
those automatically renew at the term of 6 months, so you might want to agendize it at that time to look at,
Well, yeah, I mean, he can do that.
yeah,
And that'll, yeah.
That's
be a-
because it'll be reflected in the.
You might do a smaller amount or.
Yeah, in your financial budget, you just bring it forth that next month we have to either renew this or whatever.
Yeah,
Pretty simplistic.
Very nice. Okay, anything else for Hank? Okay, thank you, I do appreciate it. Okay, now we'll move to B, financial report from Classical Academy Management for operations account. Hey, as the police.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Andrew. Can everyone hear me?
Sir.
All right, let me just share the PDF I sent to you.
This is in your binders under current
To December.
through December, yeah.
Nice. Really nice.
All right, can everybody see that? I don't know, it might be a little small.
We have it in front of us.
They have it printed.
Okay, so this is a cover sheet. This is through December. These are just a reminder, these are accrual financials. So trying to match monthly expenses with monthly revenue. And also this does not include the donation account. So the donation account is not in here. That has not been combined with this as of yet. So here's the balance sheet, accrual balance sheet through 12/31. So there's 14,000 cash, and again that doesn't include the donation account, which it sounds like you got some really generous donations. So that's great news. This 55 is the PCFP accounts receivable. This is a prepaid insurance. So the insurance for the kind of liability and E&O and that kind of thing gets paid for the whole year. And so every month, a portion of that is getting expensed on the income statement. This is the prepaid rent. So this is just a holding period until the month that the rent is actually for. Then it'll show up on the P&L. This is supplies inventory. This is furniture payment that was made. This accounts payable is amounts that for the period that have been entered but not yet paid. And this is the credit card, this short-term liability, this 3116. So that's your balance sheet. This is the cash balances, and again, this does not include the donation account, just the operating account. So there's a balance of 14,340.46. Now this is includes outstanding checks. So if it's not exactly what was in the bank, that's why, is because there's outstanding checks. All right, this what is a statement of activities or a P&L. So you can see here that I did include, so this is donation. This is really a transfer in November from the donations account of 180. All the PCFP money is adjusted. I didn't hear, are we still around 81 students, or what is the enrollment?
For this, it's 81, yeah.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah.
And Brandon, are you saying it might change for January and February, or?
It should change because starting Monday, we should be back up to 84.
Oh, that's good news. That's great. Yes. Okay. And here's the salaries. So the salaries are running about 55 to 57 a month. Benefits have gone up from prior months. This mostly was catch up from PERS donations. You can see and health benefits. I think that was a timing thing with invoicing. But we have invoicing up to date now, as far as I understand, from Colleen. And so with that 180, we do have a slight negative amount. Now, if you take that 180 out, the deficit every month, not including contributions, is around $30,000 a month. So once the enrollment gets up, hopefully that'll help get us to where it's self-sustaining. So that's the statement of activities. Here's the comparison to budget. Now I use the draft budget that was presented last time. I didn't hear if there was any changes to that draft budget, which was also right here, the draft budget. So I don't know if this has been approved or if it needs to be changed, but let me know on that and I can update that going forward. Everything looks to be in line. There are a couple of items that may need, so payroll taxes is estimated high. But I think overall it looks pretty in line. So that's the budget. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, see some of these looks like tech and hardware were over budgeted and some are under budgeted. So maybe a little bit more work there. And this is the overall budget. Again, if there's any updates to this, we can update it going forward. But I think it's pretty in line with the expenses that we're seeing now. And then this is the kind of the expense breakdown as a percentage of total expenses. So 49% of the expenses are salaries and benefits, 12% for rent, 19% professional fees, other administrative, and travel, and it is all in there. So any questions for me on financials, anything with the financials?
Andrew, you said we're running about 30,000 in deficit per month.
Yeah, so if you look at this, so that's not including the contributions, right? So if you look at just a sec, let me scroll back to this. Yeah, so this was a donation transfer. This hasn't captured all the donations. It's just the donations that are transferred from that donation account that are not included into the operating account. So if you were to back that out, you'd be at like 180, and you have 6 months of history. So 180,000 divided by 6. Is about 30,000 cash burn, right? So that's taking out the donation. So the PFC, the PCF, the per pupil funding, less the expenses, is basically in the negative of 30,000 every month.
Yeah. The challenge is you bring in 30 additional kids to take care of that monthly, and then you have extra expenses because you have people that you need to help manage all of it, unless they're just beautifully come in and
Yeah. You stuck them in.
tuck them in the little classroom. Yeah.
So I have a question, and this might be a question for you, Brandon, on the expenditures, the unemployment compensation. There's $5,000 in unemployment, or almost 5,000 in unemployment compensation, and we didn't budget for any. Is that offset by a budget somewhere else? Is that
Support all standard
recurring thing?
payroll taxes.
So when we were budgeting, we just had all payroll lumped together.
Okay.
And now it's being, this is how I understand calling add in, but when we first budgeted, we just lumped all the payroll expenses. And so that would be part of that initial budget for that. Now it's
Yes.
being,
Got it.
Yes, every payroll, unmute. Unmute.
No, you're
Unmute. Okay. Every payroll out of the employment taxes that we have to pay that are taken out of the employees' checks, we pay 50%, they pay 50% of the unemployment premium of the unemployment insurance premium. Those are not unemployment benefits that were paid out. Those are the unemployment that we by law have to pay to the state for the unemployment compensation.
So that's something that we'll continue to pay, but it was sort of included in the overall, and now we'll budget and have a better idea.
It's all included when we did the budget for personnel expenses. It's included in that budget.
Yeah. And then my other question that I ask every time, and I can't remember, when did they true up again on employment, on enrollment?
so this is our last payment. So February will be a new payment number.
Okay.
And it'll go up by 11,000, close to $11,000, because remember the last 3 months we've been paying back the overpayment. So we already are up $11,000 each month, starting February.
Right.
And then they'll take the average, they'll do the average daily attendance again for the following quarter. So the good news is, like you heard, you spilled the beans early. We do have 3 more kiddos enrolling on Monday. So if everything stays steady and they all show up on Monday, our enrollment's back up to 84 as of Monday. So we're headed back in the right direction.
And that's prior to the next count day. Or
I don't know exactly when they do the count day because it's average of the last 3 months. So I'm not sure exactly how they do that. But our lowest was 78. So we came up we've been at 81 for gosh, over a month again. So I'm guessing we'll be right around 81 again, which is what we were for the first. So I don't think our payment should change that much.
Great, but we won't, but it will.
It will increase because we're not paying back. Yes. So yes.
And that will help balance some of that 30,000 deficit.
Yep.
Yeah, so so in these accruals, I actually did account for that. If you notice this PCFP, it's the same amount. So in January, there will be a bump for the additional 3 students. However, I am getting a good estimate of what you're owed now. Now, the last November and December, because they overpaid in July and August, you were getting less. So from a cash perspective, you'll get similar amounts. Like instead of getting the lower amount, you'll get the 70,000 ish. But I have accounted for that in these accrual financials, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, another question on the pie chart on the last page. You want to have color coded? Is there
Yeah, let me move to that.
anything that's personnel, and is there anything you see in there that looks off compared to what you would expect? Maybe for a first year school.
Yeah, I think it's pretty it's pretty standard for schools, right? The big expenses is the salary and personnel. The rent I actually think you guys get a good deal on. So you guys are doing good in terms of rent. typically rents around like 18 to 19%. So I think the rental situation is good. Like I said, I think the challenge is making sure it, you know, you want a good cash position, and it sounds like if you combine the donation account and the account you have, that you're in a good cash position right now. And then after the cash position, you want to make sure you have enrollment, like that all the seats are filled, because that's how the money comes in from the state, right? They count attendance. So it's really cash position and enrollment, and then making sure that once you have enrollment, that this net this statement of activities, that this number stays positive. And so for starting school, right now, everything looks in line. And I would just say, hey, we need to get enrollment up so that we can get to a point of sustainability. With starting things up, it's gonna cost money, right? But then after it gets going, you should get to a point of, okay, you got the revenue coming in and expenses to match it, and there should be a little bit of a positive change in net income left over. So I don't know. Did that help? Really, the name of the game is enrollment and also wait list, right? So making sure you get the enrollment and then have people on your wait list.
That's the plan. It's just getting the word out. It's not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah.
Colleen, did you have any? Or you?
Nope, I think it all looks pretty good. I'm working on a report for to give Brandlin access that she can access our Sage every day and kind of see a day-to-day what's going on in her account. She keeps a really good spreadsheet, so it usually it matches really well. I don't see anything except reiterating what Andrew said. We just need to maintain and increase enrollment or keep getting generous donors, one of the two.
Right. A little bit of both. Okay, very nice. Any questions for Andrew or Colleen? Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Pam.
guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we'll move to number 6, school leader report. Brandlin.
Oh,
Somewhere, right?
it's in the under the I think it's red for most of you. Red tab. Oh, I didn't put it.
Yep. Okay.
All right, let me get it here. I guess I didn't put it in our handy dandy folder. No worries. Well, we have had an eventful start up of school. All good, just eventful. So I'll just run through this quickly. All right, so fostering classical education, I continue reading Roots of American Order, and we continue the 2nd and 4th Monday training. Again, it's so exciting to watch the staff engage and just get more and more meaty. They're better understanding this thing called classical education and why it's different, why it's important. So that's exciting and encouraging. I grouped like all this staff faculty together. So we do have 7 new part-time aides on board. So remember, we lost 2 full-time employees. So instead of replacing them with 2, I brought in 7. And so far that is working really well. So we'll keep running with that. It's a little bit more to manage, but I think it's a better balance of more building bodies in the building, which is helpful. And so we'll keep rolling with that. We're still looking for co-curricular subject matter experts. So if you have anyone in specifically music, computer science, And PE is mostly covered, but a couple of PE openings. So kudos to Kim, Paris, Lisa, Angela, Mother. They're covering art and PE very successfully. So we're super appreciative of that. One of the part-time aides is dedicated to the co-curricular times. So no matter what, we now have somebody with those kids during that time, which settles the scheduling and having a adult or a human being with the kids. But we don't necessarily, that person doesn't have subject matter experts. So it would be better still if we could bring in volunteers so that the expertise is there. She has a box of tricks and things that she can do with the kids related to music or PE or computer science. But again, it's not the same as having somebody who has expertise in that. So, but it's a solution that we have right now. So keep looking for those volunteers. We did bring in a long-term special education substitute part-time, and she's working with the teachers and fantastically figuring out what we need to do to serve our SPED kids. And the training on this Friday is follow up with the math trainer. So we're going to meet with her via Zoom for cost-saving purposes. She was planning on coming here in person, but it's a lot cheaper to just look at her over the computer. So we opted for that, and we'll meet as a whole group, and then each teacher will have 20 minutes with her individually, and then we'll meet as a whole group again. So we can talk big math, specific grade level math, big math, and I think that'll be good for our staff. Parent communication, I'll talk a little bit about below. Handbooks, we continue to make changes for next year. Learning. It's funny, what we think makes sense and what is interpreted is always fascinating. Like, okay, I didn't see that, but okay. So we'll work on the language to try to make it more clear, always. We do have our big site evaluation scheduled for Thursday, January 29th. So Dolores will be reminding everyone. The board group, I didn't bring my folder. The board group, I think, is Tim, Amy, and Kim. It was random except for the newest board member was you. That was the non-negotiable. The other ones were random picked. I'll give you more information on that. And then there's a parent group, there's a faculty group, there's a student group, there's a whole bunch of focus groups happening that day.
And are they happening at different times? It's not a full day commitment.
No, it's just hours. Yeah, hours. I reached out to Hillsdale hoping that they had improved their policy on curriculum schools and that some of our teachers could go to summer training, but that did not change, unfortunately, so we don't get to be invited to Hillsdale yet. We will continue to work on that. And they too are continuing to fight for curriculum schools getting more support. So bummer, but we'll move forward. Grand Canyon, I did start my internship officially. Joe's in the building each Thursday, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when we talk about enrollment. But Joe and I are working on the projected budget given all the changes and the trickle down from enrollment. So we're working on that actively. The budget, there's nothing significant to report. We're in the same position we've been in, and we just will keep monitoring that. And then probably in February, Joe and I'll present the proposed projected budget with the new enrollment and like kind of catch up where we are and how it changes from this point forward. So stay tuned for that. State testing, we're working on our WIDA testing. That's for our English learners testing. We have about 12 kids that qualify for English language that have to be assessed. And that is pulling from when they enroll, they fill out a form that asks them if they speak an language other than English at home. And if they mark any other language, then they're put into this category of English learners. And then that pulls, has us do certain assessment with them. So we have about 12 of those who speak other languages. We'll be doing our winter map testing the first week of February. So we're excited. That'll help us start to look at growth and how our kids are moving. And then we're gearing up for the first SBAC, which is third graders. And we have the distinction of having a Nevada alternative assessment kiddo in our midst. And so in addition to SBAC, we also get to learn how to administer the Nevada alternative assessment. which is a separate assessment for certain kids who qualify. So the funny thing was when I set up the school and we were setting up our assessment schedule, I called to find out more about this alternative assessment, and they told me, and I quote, "Don't worry, you won't have to worry about that."
No.
And I thought when I saw it come through, I'm like, hey, we get to learn about that. So anyway, it's an unusual occurrence, but the good news is they have a training here in Elko and we are going. So hallelujah, we don't have to travel. And it's great that we'll know, like it's another first year check, like, okay, we can handle it. We got it. So that's all coming about. And SBAC is scheduled for right around middle of April, I think, if I remember correctly. Miss Mars and I marked the calendar, so that'll be happening. It's a week.
Yeah, what's SBAC then?
Oh, Smarter Balanced. It's the
There's some of those that are not educated.
It's an annual test that they do for all students that are
all Nevada students, and they use it to compare.
nationwide, most schools are.
Yeah,
Those are standardized.
it's totally standardized. Yeah. Thank you, Dorothy. Sorry about that. Marking being nothing to report other than we just keep doing everything we're doing and we're getting traction. I don't think it's a marketing issue. Again, oh my gosh, I keep doing that. Sorry. We'll talk more about that when we talk about enrollment. It's a human behavior versus what we want to happen situation, I really think at this point. Disciplinary policy, we have started a contract with Crossroads Behavioral. They're going to come in and do a school-wide assessment for behavior. Behavior is really quite fantastic. We're talking about tweaking little things so that we do better. We do have a few kiddos that are repeat visitors. So in that contract, we have some time and money for functional behavioral assessments for those kiddos. So basically, we're trying to hone in and get better with the quote, average population of our school, because you'll notice lining up is still a challenge, not blurting, like all the typical things that we're having to train out in our school, but we're just requesting some people who can help us do that better and learn like some tips and tricks since we have new teachers in the building who need some training on all of that. So we're going to reach out for some professional help to make it better. So that'll start, they'll be in the building here probably starting next week. They'll do a full assessment and then they'll write a full report, and I'll share that report with you guys just so you can see what they're saying about us and how suggestions and such like that. The heater maybe is fixed because it feels like it's getting warmer. So no one is allowed to complain that it's too hot at this point. It's been a journey, but I think maybe they finally actually had to replace the roof unit. So it's been a big fix, but I think we were there. And then all of the outer doors are new. These two sets over here are brand new, and all of them are keyed the same. So now we have one key for all of the doors, which just makes our life a lot easier. And I'm super, super, super proud of our staff because we had one key that we had to use for this playground door for probably close to 4 weeks, and we didn't lose it. So hallelujah. I'm so proud. This staff is really amazing. They're doing such great things. All right, this is the exciting part of the presentation. So on December 11th, we had a funny smell in the Great Hall, and we were like, what is that smell? So we did an evacuation. We called the Elko Fire Department, and there was nothing that they detected. It was a great opportunity for an impromptu evacuation drill. So that occurred. And then on last Friday, we had some excitement down at the end of Railroad Street. The police came and said that we were at recess for lunch. We had just started our recess rotation. The police came and said we need to bring all our kids inside. So we brought all our kids inside, locked down the school, communicated with parents. It lasted about 1 hour. And to date, I have not received any complaints. So I think that means we must have done well. I'm again super proud of my staff. They just kept teaching. We just kept teaching and learning. We just kept business going on inside because there was nothing else we needed to be doing other than teaching and learning.
How was the parent response?
Good. Like I said, I haven't received any complaints. We got several phone calls. We communicated as soon as we could with Infinite Campus. That reached most of our parents, and we're using this as an opportunity to help parents understand why they need to have an Infinite Campus account because that's how we're going to communicate with them. The ones that are calling typically didn't. So we're using this as a learning opportunity. We'll be sending home, like, if you don't have one, we're happy to help you. And then we checked social media. We didn't, like I said, we didn't see an explosion of nastiness. So I think we did well. Yeah. And the kids did well. Everybody did well. Like it was as good as it can be. And it's a great, again, what a great thing to have your first year of operation, because now we know we can do it. So, and then succession plan on the back, there's nothing to report on that.
Can you remind me where we're at with the succession plan? Did we vote and approve that?
Yes. Yeah, we did. I can share it with you if you want.
That's all right. I'm sure I've got it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome.
Good work. Okay, no committee reports, no old business. We will move to 9, new business. Hey, review and discuss the enrollment amendment application. Still you, is that in?
So that's in your book under current meeting. And this is an application that's Joe and I are working on. There's a few things I need to tweak. And then of course, based on your suggestions, excuse me, but so the process here is the board needs to approve this, approve it, and then Amy signs it down here that it's been approved, that basically you're approving that we're requesting a change in our enrollment plan per the contract that we signed with SPCSA back in August. And so if either we'll get that done at this meeting, if you're comfortable with what I'm presenting, if not, we'll have to have a second meeting to finalize it, because what we need to do is have it approved and then the minutes approved so that we can submit it to SPCSA. So in February, so that we go on the state board's agenda in March, and then the state board approves it. So there's a whole process we're in the middle of. Ours is fairly simple because all we are doing is asking for an update in our enrollment.
Reduction, essentially.
A reduction in enrollment. So we don't, because we're a brand new school too, we don't have a lot of the things they're asking for per se. So you can see on page 1, I basically tried to outline the experience that we are at approximately 70% enrollment. We haven't gone above that. And that we are going to plan accordingly based on reality. And again, this is where, so let me just run through this. So these are the enrollment reports. So first day of school, August 25th. And the way this works is, so this is just pulling out of Infinite Campus. And so our kids are identified demographically. But if you look on the far right total over here, this is males / females / total. So that's what those 3 numbers are. So it's Infinite Campus breaks it down. So you can see at the very bottom, all grades for the first day of school, we had 83 enrolled. And then the last day before winter break, on December 19th, we had dropped to 78. And then we're back up to 81 based on last Friday. Back to 81. So I'm just showing the state that this is the reality of our enrollment and this is the basis for our request. And the impact will be that it obviously will reduce the funding projections, which is why Joe and I are working on a new projected budget. I think it's really, really important. I know we want a full school. This is the updated enrollment projections based on current enrollment data. So this is using actual numbers, moving them forward as classes across the next 5 years. I know this isn't the numbers the board dreams of because we want a full school, but these are numbers based on real-time reality. And this is what I was saying. I think it's really important as a board and as a school leader that we recognize like human behavior versus what we want to happen. And the truth is, and what we're observing, and A lot of people don't change schools in 3rd or 4th grade. Once they're established in the school, they're going to stay in that school unless they're super probably unhappy. And then it's also very risky to join up with a new school. And so again, this is no reflection of the awesome things that's happening. It's the reflection of human behavior, and we just have to honor that. And we also, for example, have to recognize EIAA, it took them 10 full years before they started having a waiting list. So we just have to be hopeful, certainly keep doing everything we can to spread the good news, but also start planning in reality. So this is the enrollment that Joe and I worked up together based on current numbers. And it keeps us right around 70% of enrollment for the next 6 years. I think there's also some real advantages for students as we're learning and we're growing. It allows us to be very responsive to our students and learn and grow as a staff without such pressure of huge, big classes and big numbers. There's some value in that too.
You said you and Joe are gonna work on the budget piece of it to see how that impacts.
Yeah, because we'll definitely have to adjust. And like Amy, you were saying, like we have to really be cognizant of, we bring in more people, we need more adults, but where's that balance? Where's that sweet spot? And how are we going to manage that? Because this is a tricky number. Like as an educator, this 26 kindergartners, you'd either want to have like 40 or you'd want to have 20. Like 26 is like, oh, that's either a really big class or it's 2 really small classes, which budgetarily is terrible. So it's like, what are we going to do? So we're already thinking what some different scenarios with these numbers, because it's like a terrible number with regards to what do you do with it? It's not a clear-cut answer, which would be nice. Like I said, if you had 40, it's obvious you have 2 classes. If you have 13, it's obvious you have 1 class. 26, we'll see.
Yeah.
Right?
Right in the middle, because it's a first-year school and we want all the challenges we can get. So anyway, that's where we are with that. We just ran the 15 out for 3rd grade. And again, the reality is as we get older, depending on what's happening, you could expect a decline, hence why we didn't increase the 3rd grade as we went out, because social stuff, sports, these sorts of things might draw kids out of our school and back into district schools where there's more opportunities, clubs, hopefully we'll have robotics and these sorts of things, but we don't have them now. So we have to just be realistic that typically that 6, 7, 8 grade is hard to grow. That's a hard year. That's a hard to keep and hard to grow until, like I said, once we get whole families and it's a culture, I think that's a very different story. And, 10 years from now, it's assumed you go all 13 years with us. So again, I know it's not what we dreamt of, but it's based in reality.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One, so I hear what you're saying about the 26 kindergartners, and right now we have that split into 2 classes. But then as those kids progress and you've kept that number at 26, is the plan that then there will just be 1, like next year there would just be 1 first grade in the budget rather than 2?
Potentially, those are some of the scenarios we're running out. Okay. I don't know, because it will depend, but this also really supports why we might want to, and why we want to move towards ability grouping, because then you could create classes instead of having a first grade class, we could create maybe 3 classes where we have not yet as expected, better than. Right. And then we really ability group these kids and move these kids where they are and not be stuck that we have to have 2 kindergarten classes. So we're trying to think outside the box a little.
So with that, does filing this amendment cause any sort of issues with our charter path forward, as far as, do we need to say in here, yes, it's going to impact because we aren't going to have 2 first grade classes? If we say that, does that mean that we can't? Sort of what does this tie us into if we bring the numbers way down, but then the numbers actually are higher, closer to what's in our charter contract?
So two parts to that answer. First part is, according to the conversations with the state, how we disperse the kids inside of our school is not important. So we can arrange them however it makes sense to the students that we're serving. So that doesn't change. And if we saw an increase in enrollment, we would simply apply for another amendment. We can apply for as many amendments as we need to.
Okay.
So if we submit this and next year we have a flood of applications and everybody shows up and we're up, then we just put in another amendment.
What's the magic, 10%?
10%. So from this number, you are allowed without question plus or minus 10%. It's only when you dip below or go above that you have to amend.
But amendments are obviously not that difficult to.
I don't think so. Yeah. It's not a game changer, no. I'm assuming, I mean, we haven't gotten through the process yet, but I don't think so.
And you talked to someone or some people at SPCSA about this, and are they giving you any sort of side eye or,
No.
asking any questions? Are they cooperative?
So far, I've been in touch with Katie Broughton and Danny Peltelier. I'm not saying his last name right. You guys know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Anyway, those two, no, they're like, yeah, this has happened. You're a brand new school. Adjust and move forward. And from the SPCA, they want nothing but us for the SPCA. They say this every meeting, and I believe this is true because they treat us really supportive. Our success is their success. So they want us to be successful, and they support, like, just tell us what you need and we'll help you get there. Yeah. No, Katie and Danny have been fantastic to work with.
My only other, when I was looking through this, is facilities, and I don't know if it matters, but remember we talked about in year 4, we need possibly 2 modulars to accommodate. And we're still gonna have those classes, but I don't know if we need to go into the weeds that much. It says are gonna be any impacts on facilities. And that changes budget and everything, but we still may need those because we still have classrooms.
I think
I don't know.
I'd wait and
Just
see what
let it
happens
go.
for a year.
Yeah. Next
I
year
mean,
we see what happens.
Next year we can see, but I mean, I don't see, we've got so much else on our plate.
It just says in here,
That's just my opinion.
are there any changes to your facility plan?
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, they're not gonna pay attention to year 5.
It seems like there's still enough questions at this point of what year 2 is gonna look like.
Right.
that
Yeah,
We just
exactly.
go, sure, by year 4, we'll have 5, we'll still have the same plan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like right now, who knows?
Yeah.
Even on the 113, we weren't sure either, we just came up with numbers
Sure.
that we liked for the budget. We just wanted to break even when we were doing it, so we didn't know, this is.
And there's no use making yourself crazy over something that you don't have to deal with yet.
Yeah.
Does this amendment preclude us from taking students? If we do hit our goals next year and we have 150, we have 160, but now we're telling the state we're capped at 107 plus 10%. Well, that's 113. Does that mean we have to turn away?
No.
File another.
We would file,
File the expanded.
so if we had like a real run in enrollment, I would immediately get on the phone with the state and say, we are going to blow past our 10%. What do you want me to do? And then I suspect they'll say file another amendment.
Okay, but it doesn't preclude us from
Nope.
turning people away.
Nope, not that I understand.
It's a lottery, we get lucky enough to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we opened the lottery, we're about to open. the
It's
lottery.
open. It's open.
So we'll have some idea about at least the interest.
We have some interest, and every day we're getting an application in, most days. So it's happening.
How about with Head Start and preschools, that would be what we might want to do a little bit of.
We have flyers that we give to them.
Yeah, it's time for that though.
And same, Amy, I had the facility thought, but I too agree like with Dorothy, like, let's just wait. Let's just one thing at a time. We'll figure that out when we get there.
Will you update this with current enrollment before you submit it? Are you gonna go up to 83 or 84 or 85?
We could, if we want to, I can wait until Monday, and then when I can rerun this report and just put that as the current and submit it. So that should show 84 here at this number.
And then update the year one actual numbers in the other charts for that.
Yeah, if you want me to, I don't think that's a problem. It does feel good to get the number back.
It feels good to.
And I guess I misspoke. I thought we started with 84, so I've slept, since August. So that's great. So if Monday everybody comes, then we're actually at our highest enrollment. So we can really celebrate. Yeah, because we started with 83. I would have told you we started with 84.
Is there anything else that you need from us on this other than review?
No, just review and just support, and then then I'll submit it, and of course I'll keep you in the loop as I hear from the state. The only other thing outstanding is these two attachments at the back, the school approved budget, which we have from our board meeting, and then the projected budget, which Joe and I are working on. And I can also share that if we want to wait to approve until you see that. And then we could have call a special meeting just to approve this specifically. But the projected budget will be built off of that table. I think it was 5. So that's just a quick run, really fast dollar amount that we will be working with for our projected budget.
So are you saying, so you need a motion to approve this then?
This has to be board approved to be submitted. This meaning the application.
Has to be approved on the February
By the
meeting.
board. We need it to be approved before the February meeting. So on the February minutes, we can approve minutes on the February meeting.
So we can either approve this now based on these figures, or we have to have a special board meeting to approve these.
Correct.
Yes.
I'm not comfortable approving this till we have a projected budget because at 70% enrollment, the school's not viable. So I want to see that we have a budget that shows it is viable before we approve it.
Okay.
I don't know how there's.
And that's you and Joe working on that?
Yeah, Joe and I will be working on Thursday again.
Well, we would have to be creative because again, you're absolutely right. 26 is like the perfect storm because it's too big for kindergarten. You could have herding cats all day long, but 13 isn't ideal for budgeting purposes. So it's going to fall on us and primarily Brandon with Joe's help and the staff to figure out how to keep the current staff or even fewer staff, you know what I mean, to make it viable.
Yeah.
Because if we go traditional, you're right, this isn't viable, but if we do use some creative work with our weird number of grade levels, because 19 is fantastic. That's
a good one,
actually
yes.
a balance, you can balance a budget with 19 kids. 21 kids, perfect. 26 ideal, but then that's not ideal for learning. So we're almost set up for failure with our DSA, our distributed student account. The funding that they give Nevada, which PS is one of the lowest in the nation, is set up that they want 25 to 30 kids in a class to balance a budget. Does that make sense? In order for any school to operate, they have to have large school sizes. So we have to get creative, and that's the beauty of this classical school. We don't have to be bound by regimented system. But yeah, I see what you're saying at the same time. And we have to figure out how to make it run. We're not stopping the school. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a solution exists. I mean, half-day kindergarten, that would solve that problem, but whatever.
We can't do half day kindergarten because the state required minutes. You can't fit it into a half day it would force you to have a really early starting time and late ending time, and it would throw off the whole school schedule. I checked into that first, hopeful it won't work.
That's not ideal for learning. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's just
Well, the question is, Terry, so how does the rest of the board feel? Is everybody on Hank's page, or do you want to move forward with this? What's everybody thinking?
we're just putting in, the whole purpose of this is to let them know that our enrollment is lower than expected. And this is pretty decent wild guess at what we think it will be. If nothing changed, if every single person that's here came back, nobody came in new, nobody left.
Yeah.
That's all this is. This is not.
And it's I mean, really, the
We're not
state's
watching
using
that.
it for planning purposes, right? For the state to plan budget for their budget, like, oh, we're estimating $1 million, 2 million, right? So it's all planning because we don't know what next year holds.
We're not, if we submit the budget, I guess, when you and Joe come up with this anticipated budget, we're not locked into it.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah, it's not.
And we have to amend the whole school budget anyway. I mean, you guys have to approve the updated budget
In March.
anyway, yeah,
This budget is solely for the purposes of this amendment, right?
yes.
It's not, the one that we're going to be spending time on, so maybe your tentative budget in March with final approval in May, I think. It's May 15 or something like that.
And then if we change it, do we have to? Does that cause any issues with this? If we change?
This is just classroom numbers. The
It's just
budget
classroom
isn't
numbers.
the,
A budget, I think the budget's a whole nother process.
Okay.
They're
This
just
is-
asking the budget so that I think
This-
we've thought about it, right?
Well, they're asking for a budget on that, so I assume they want to see that the budget's gonna work with lower attendance.
Mhm.
Before I can vote for this, I want to see that too, because we modeled this very, very well. And it shows that we really struggled below 90%, and we're in that situation now.
Mhm.
So, we need to figure that out, and I'd like to see that before we vote for this.
Okay, so we need to table this until we get the updated budget figures then?
I mean, or call the question,
Or what?
or call the question, I
Or
mean,
vote?
I'll be able to vote.
Oh, I see it. No.
I'm fine to have another meeting specifically to look at that if people want to.
And it could be a Zoom meeting.
It can be Zoom. Mhm.
Yeah,
Sure.
they'll have one item on the.
But I feel like it's pretty important.
So let's just table it until that budget's available.
And get those all sent out and we have one item, a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that they can have the minutes ready for the February meeting. Okay.
Yeah, as soon as the budget passes, it should be. Voted.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion to do.
second it.
Most of our names sent by Tim to table this until we have the budget information. All in favor?
Thank you. Excellent.
Okay, moving on to B, review and discuss school year 2026-2027 calendar options. That looks like the very last page of the list.
So I gave you ECSD school calendar because as a school that has families with students in both, I do think there's value to aligning with that. However, they're starting the 17th of August and they're finishing before Labor Day, the Thursday before Labor Day. I think really I'm asking the board, do we want to align? Do we want to keep our own schedule? I love that we have two parents in the room to speak to that as well. It has been from real life experience. It is confusing for parents who have kids in our school and we're not matching ECSD. Like we have different days off. For instance, kids did not go back on Monday. We came back after Monday or on that Monday after our Christmas holiday. We had a lot of phone calls and a lot of late kids that day because it's confusing and parents are, as you know, those of you with kids, parents are busy and tracking a lot of schedules. My personal hope and dream was to start after Labor Day and be a more traditional school. I don't think that's best for our community and our parents. I think as much as I'm not a fan of this schedule per se, I think it makes sense just to align in. Of course, we would have Fridays and But basically align as close as possible, even down to conferences, so that we keep it as simple as possible for parents.
If we have to from home.
I'd be curious if it helps enrollment too, keeps it simple.
Well, I think it's insane to start school on the 17th of August. I don't care what anybody says. That's great.
I do agree with that.
I think that's unreasonable for parents or summers, or I don't care what the county school districts do. But, maybe that's just because I don't have kids in 3 different schools, but I don't know, Jamie, you're here.
Yeah. Well, I've got one daughter here and one daughter here and my son at St. Mark, so they, doesn't have to be much. I agree. I mean, August is too early to start school, but I can understand the confusion, right, with just the Monday example, right, where I hear about it, the neighbor kids didn't have to go to school and my daughter had to go to school, which means she went to school, that's what you do. I can imagine that would be confusing for somebody who has a student in 5th grade right at Platteview and a student here and one in high school and one wherever, right, scattered about, that they're starting on different days, or our students would get another week of summer where there's right. I don't know if it would help enrollment or not, so but I can see
And the dream, again, comes back to why we want to stay open and push into, once we're a fully encapsulated school and we have entire families, then we can make our schedule, Dorothy, like you're saying. I know that's years from now, decade from now, but that's the advantage of having a K-12 school, is you can run your own schedule.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, is that while we're actively trying to recruit people who have kids in other schools, then I think we have to align, maybe not every single day or every single holiday, but certainly start and end times, and certainly the spring break times, so that if they have a kid who's in 5th grade right now who can't come here,
right,
they could still say, okay, I was gonna be going to 2 schools anyway.
Right.
I can move my younger kid to your school because the schedules align closely now. I think that makes sense.
But is it really just to be devil's advocate here? I mean, is the start and stop date that important? I mean, perhaps maybe the other dates within the school year. But I mean, there might be a lot of parents that would say, man, this school's not starting until after Labor Day. I mean, I'd much rather have my kids home for another 2 weeks of summer. I mean, is there that argument?
Because
as well as, the same thing. I mean, I agree with you. Maybe we don't have to parrot the exact schedule, but where is it important? I can see where maybe the Christmas holidays are important, spring break might be a holiday within the year, but is start and stop date that important?
unfortunately for parents it is, because if I have a 1st grader here and a 5th grader at whatever school, 5th grade in Flatview, then I'm adding an extra month of school. I'm starting 2 weeks later with one, so I'm doing school for 2 weeks, then I've got school starting again. Then everything's streamlined at the end of the year. They're done in May, and then these guys, and there's babysitting. I mean, I think it's ridiculous too, because it stays so hot. And June is generally kind of cool, so it's not like they're excited for summer. You can't really go out and do much till 2nd week of June anyway, so I'm not sure what their thinking was on this.
I think the
But it
thinking,
is a huge challenge for parents to balance all of it.
Well, there might be a compromise here, and I don't know how the educational minister will work out with our Fridays. Can we start a week later? Can we start 2 weeks later? Have those extra minutes on Fridays and then end at the same time? Keep all the other holidays in line.
For our instructional hours?
We probably can, but the problem would be, my concern as school leader is where we will have probably 2 weeks of absences with families, and that's not good for the school, because that's going to put them right into 10%, over 10% chronic absenteeism.
Why do you think we have 2 weeks of absence?
If they're choosing not to start their,
I mean, if we start 2 weeks later,
later, maybe, yeah.
that'll cause absences to the ECSD maybe, but it's not an us problem.
Yeah, that's true. If we start later, yeah. Well, we pick it up in the end, sorry. You might
You
think
got in 2
we
weeks.
pick it up at the end. So ECSD gets out May 27th. We would probably lose a significant number of our kids the last 2 weeks of school.
But if we can stack enough educational time in those
The
Fridays.
minutes aren't the issue. We have enough minutes.
What is?
Right, we would lose.
The start date, the actual physical calendar for parents.
Yeah, so
Can
we
you
start
on the
2
same
weeks
day?
later, we have enough educational minutes, we get out on the same day.
But we're confusing parents. It's a community issue, not a minute.
Yeah, I understand that. I might agree with that, but that might be the best compromise. We can start after Labor Day, which will be appealing to some. It's minimal confusion between us and ECSD. If everything else stays aligned. We're already having Fridays, which is different anyways.
The challenges in our
It'll be 3
application.
weeks this year. It would be, if we wait till after Labor Day, it's 3 full school weeks.
And we said in our application, we would mirror Elko County School District's calendar, and we prided ourselves on having significantly more instructional hours. And I think that's what helps test scores and everything, you know, I think that's what drives us, but
Oh, well, we said we were gonna do that.
we said we would mirror Elko County in our, I mean, we,
Yeah.
it is pain in the rear end. A lot of the districts are now going into that. And I know you have secondary kids that watch the little, I was here today for a little bit before, and almost all of these kids have siblings.
Yes. We have a huge sibling population.
A lot of the younger siblings too, though.
Yeah, I just think the start date, I mean, I think you could mirror everything else. I just think the start date is absolutely insane.
I mean, this year we started a week after Elko County, so we could keep our start date of the 24th. It's better this year. Last year it was wonky because of this fair, but this year the fair will be a week later. So we could have 2 full weeks before fair, which is, so we could start the 24th.
But
We
if you're gonna
could
start
split
at
the difference.
Day, what difference does it make anyway? And either start the same day or start after Labor Day, I mean, one of the two.
And are you proposing, Brandon, that if we started a week later, we would also end a week later?
Correct.
Not take that week out, like.
I mean, we could take the week out with minutes. I think we have so many minutes.
It's only 4 days because it's Memorial Weekend, so you don't.
Yeah, so we could potentially still end with them, but we would be getting closer to minutes. And like Amy said, if that's was part of our application was exceptional minutes.
I
I'd
think
have to run that number. from
the
my-
sad part about the schedule like it was originally adjusted to have the end of the semester before Christmas time. That's why it was adjusted.
Right,
For grading.
for
For
grading.
grading purposes, so kids start afresh and come back rather than trying to review things to get them back to where they were to continue on because the semester ended like the second or third week in January.
Yeah, your finals were like a week after they came back
Oh,
from
it was
break.
probably more of a secondary issue than an elementary issue,
True.
to be honest.
Well, it sounds like you think that it's best to just stay with the schedule, Brandon. So I think you're the one that has to deal with it, so we should honor that.
Well, I just, yes, putting my personal preferences aside, what's best for our parents, based on what I know, is alignment and simplicity.
Yeah. And I think that we will get a benefit with enrollment with that. I think that's personal opinion.
Let's work testing.
Staying along.
Yeah,
But we're not taking the 4th of January off, because that's just randomly different to me, right? Like, why would they do a teacher workday after 2 weeks off?
they've done that. It was always the first day back. The new semester has always been a teacher work day for Elko County back to 1990.
Why didn't they do it during vacation, for Christ's sake?
I can't speak to the,
I think that's
I
right.
can't speak to having to live that.
I know that that's not the case in several other.
Yeah,
So I think
that
As
was-
a parent, I'm just very happy to be able to send my children back to school that day.
Yeah.
that's all.
And we don't, to answer Dorothy's, we won't align with this exactly. There are changes we will make for to meet our school, but the start and end and the major holidays will be similar.
Thank you, that's
We would
been on my heartburn a lot.
Yeah. I think that it just makes the most sense to align with this. I, as much as I don't like the schedule. I think if we go past Memorial Day, we're gonna have kids who just miss the whole last week of school. Because they will
You know
go
that.
somewhere with their families and they'll miss all of that. And I think to me, the end date is more critical than the start date. If we wanted to start a week late and take that week from the end of the year, we could do that.
Yeah, I think
Because
the end date's fine.
We wouldn't face the same kids, their siblings have already been at school, so they're not gonna be absent because the parents are waiting to get them into school too.
Right.
So we wouldn't have that same issue starting later at the beginning.
But sometimes you have daycare issues too. Your middle school kids watch the little kids.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like, you
that's
go to
what,
work,
totally.
and now your middle school kids are in
Totally.
school and they have.
And I also think we should be really transparent with our families and our parents about this and say, we are trying this year because we know the families are in different places and we want to see if this works best for our student population. And if it does not, we will have this conversation again in a year and potentially adjust away,
Please come to the board meeting and provide your input.
Yeah,
Survey,
Survey, yeah.
next year, and
Yeah.
what did you guys think?
We've done it, yeah, first year was a week later, second year we started similarly, where are your feelings?
yeah,
And once you get to about eighth grade.
It's hard
then
being
it's around-
first year.
Yes.
You're-
so hard.
Everything you do, you throw the dice for.
Well, like I said, I think the most important thing is that, Brandon, that's what your recommendation is, you run the school. So
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to.
I think it will be a good service to our parents. Because our parents, it's hard raising kids. And you don't need one more thing to make it complicated.
Yeah.
The boys and girls club, they stopped. And they align with the Elko County School District schedule, so that week,
Yes.
if we're to start a week after the school district, Boys and Girls Club isn't operated on week. So anybody's using Boys and Girls Club for their summer care, they wouldn't have anything.
Good recognition of that.
And
Didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a really important point too. Okay. Okay, well, I'll crunch the numbers. I'll create our calendar based mimicking this with our nuances. And then at the next board meeting, we'll look for an approval for that
That's great.
based on that conversation. Thank you. That's what I needed, was just to brainstorm it through.
Okay. Discuss nonprofit plan. This is Lisa's.
All right.
Baby.
Very funny.
Infant, early toddler.
Yeah. So we have talked at length with this group about the need to form or have a nonprofit formed for the school now that we have become an educational organization. We're moving forward with the details of how to make that happen. And what we need based on legal counsel is we need a name, a name for the organization. And we need 3 officers who can be basically the starting board for this nonprofit organization. To be able to start it up, to file the paperwork for the 501c3 status, to write the bylaws and get going on sort of the structure of the organization. And this is a best practice. This is the advice we've been given by legal counsel, that this is just the way that it needs to be done in order to protect the school, protect the board members, protect the future, protect, funds coming in, just to set it up as cleanly as possible. So we're working with legal counsel to get all of those details figured out, with the ultimate vision being that we have the governing board, which is our governance, oversight, the visionary, the make sure that things are running the way that they're all supposed to be running. And then we have this secondary 501c3 nonprofit, which is not connected to us as a board or to the oversight of the school. It's a standalone nonprofit, but its goal and intent is to be the sort of the fundraising arm of the organization, the place where donations and funds can be properly accounted for, along with being sort of involved in the day-to-day operations and the family connections of the organization. So really having this nonprofit board that then under the board, they can stand up the PTA as a committee, or other things that need to happen within the family connection, the culture connection, and within the day-to-day of the school. And really get that parent involvement going. And so we've been talking with some folks about who would be a good fit for the board. I have asked Jamie Donovan to be here at this meeting today, so that she can speak a little bit about it. She has agreed to be the chair of the board to get it kicked off, and to work on the paperwork for getting filed and that sort of thing. And so the three names that we'd like to propose are Jamie Donovan, and then Cynthia Gonzalez, who sits at the front desk. She has also agreed to participate. We thought it would be great to have staff, parents, and then a founding board member are the three, sort of to make sure that where we've come from is included, where we're going is included, and the actual of how it's all working is also included as well. And so Cynthia has agreed. She is a great face for the school. She is an up and comer. I think this would be a really good growth opportunity for her to get involved and really be able to share her passion and also show that we're, supporting her and her continued growth here. Jamie has been one of our biggest cheerleaders. She has been with us from the very beginning, ever since the first day that I was talking to her about the school, and she said, "Sign me up. Where do I sign up? How can I do this?" So she knows where we've come from, and I'll let her talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then third, we were wondering about an interested founding board member. It cannot be someone who currently sits on the governing board. Kelly Buckner has said that he is willing to do it and be that third face, which would be great from a financial perspective, from community connection perspective, lots of good things. So Jamie, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit with us.
Sure. So Jamie Dawson, like Lisa said, very excited about the school. My daughter's in first grade. One of the group that came and presented earlier. I've been in the Elko area most of my life. I was raised here, and I've been in the mining industry for the last 18, 19 years, in community relations and communications type roles. So that's what I do currently. I've spent time on lots of different boards. I was on the Legacy Fund board, Vermont, and then also the Heritage Fund when it became NGM. I'm currently the chair of the board for the Elko Marion Chamber. I sit on the chair or the board for communities and schools. So a lot of experience with different boards. I've never started a nonprofit from scratch, but I did go meet with Katie McConnell, and she let me know, what we needed to do, that we needed just the three people to get the organization started. She did also let me know, right? So Spring Creek has just started a nonprofit booster club separate from the school to do fundraising for Spring Creek. Elko has done the same for their big capital campaign for a new track. And she said it makes sense to do the 501c3 nonprofit organization for fundraising for the school. Like I said, I'm happy to step in as the chair for that. And then also very excited to be, a part of the PTA, right? Or helping the PTA kind of form and grow. And when we did the parade of lights, there were so many people that were so excited to help and do something. And I have OCD and I have a control issue, but just looking at things for people, I'm like, but I think if we build something, people will show up. My daughter went to grammar for kindergarten, and nothing against grammar, but they don't even have a PTA because they don't have enough people interested in a PTA at grammar. And the fact that we had that many parents show up that were just like bringing Christmas decorations and bringing lights and bringing candies, and I think we could really have something cool for our school if we had a formal program that they could participate in that was led by people that are good at managing programs. So I don't see a loss in doing it this way. I think it will grow and be very successful, and also I think help with enrollment, because same thing within industry, right? We always say in the mining industry, like, your employees are your biggest, they're your advocates, right? They're out there speaking for your company. So if you have parents or students that are out there in the public speaking highly of the school and like, this is the real place, right? They do good things. I think that will help with enrollment as well. So So yeah, that's my thought. And like Lisa said, we need to come up with an organization name. And I'm happy to put my name on there and my social list as the chair. But I really think it will help and do great things for the school. I'm happy to be a part of it.
So question, what's the timeline to have this?
As soon as possible. What Katie said was that as soon as we file the paperwork, we can put that we have a 501c3 pending, which is what we did when we first started this school. And so I think having Jamie move forward immediately makes a lot of sense so that it's just going. They can then figure out bylaws, they can figure out when they're meeting, they'll have to set up a financial structure. The expectation would be that they would have their own account somewhere not tied to our accounts. So a separate account for the 501c3, but then an agreement or something written into their bylaws that says the funds that they are raising are to go to projects or needs of the school. So that we know that there's an agreement, we all have a mutual understanding about what's happening, but that there isn't any gray area between the school's finances or the funds that have been raised previously and this future step for the nonprofit.
But my only concern, and this comes from that experience, is that some type of quarterly information only, because we don't have a voice in it, report on fundraising and funds, because our PTA is, and capital campaign and boosters or what, whatever areas we go in, is a direct reflection on, even though it's separate, and we had some misappropriation of PTA funding, and we were not doing a strong enough job of, because we don't have a voice in it, we kind of let it go, like, oh, they're separate, they're working on the capital campaign. Well, guess what, when it got exposed that there was embezzlement and different things happening, and it was high in our face, because they didn't look at the PTA, they looked at the school's PT, you know what I mean? So we would expect to have some information on a regular, information only on a regular basis.
I completely agree, and I think we add it as a standing agenda item. It gets added to part of the report every month, whether Jamie wants to be here or she wants to give something written to Brandolyn or to you or somebody to report. I think it would be very reasonable to have a report at every single board meeting. And sometimes it will be nothing to report, and but that way we can keep connected, stay up to date.
And I would, I have no problem with any of it, but I would suggest that Jamie, that committee invite Mark Paris to their meeting somewhere and make sure that that's all on the same page, because, I mean, Mark's been so involved in the funding and financing for this whole organization that you could run into, that might be a real big.
Is 3 the minimum?
Three is the minimum, correct. So she said that she can start the paperwork with three officers, then it's 4 to 6 weeks, but we can put pending right away. And then once we get the 501c3 designation, they'll backdate it to the date of the application.
So Mark might want to just be an advisory, or he may want.
Well, I just think he needs to be consulted. Absolutely. Because, I mean,
He's got the direct pulse.
Well, yeah, he does. I mean, he has done most of the financing here. I mean, obviously Cam excluded, but from the very beginning, he's been on that very bottom level. So she has to be included in somehow in that planning stage.
Because
otherwise we
pulled off, Kelly kind of pulled off, but Mark still having this strong pulse.
Well, and yeah, and I mean, just like you're saying, I mean, right now we've got so many different accounts and different people, and I mean, I do think what you're saying is valid. I think there's a real potential for things falling through the cracks and money going missing.
That's why you gotta keep it on the front center. We just let it, I mean, every school has this type of an arrangement, you have to. But we just put it on the back burner because it wasn't front and center, and that was really disaster. It was a Facebook disaster.
And I mean, right now, we all know Jamie, and Jamie's wonderful, but that doesn't mean that down the road, there's somebody else there that maybe is not a little less scrupulous. So, I mean, you've got to plan for that. Sure.
Okay, any other? Hey, I think Lisa, you're still large and in charge with update on fundraising and classroom sponsorship.
All right. No major updates on the fundraising unless anybody brought us any checks today.
I have a major fundraiser.
All right.
Well, Rundle.
I'm gonna do my feet again.
It's always the same when somebody puts their hand up.
Yeah, somebody needs first.
I've already met with Lisa and Brandon to give them a little bit of an update on this. And so Kelly, again, thank God for Kelly, went to Todd Sorensen, that's credit union, and paved the way for a yearly donation of $20,000 to $25,000 a year. And I talked to Lisa yesterday, and what Kelly said that Todd wants is a proposal. So Lisa's been going to do some of our magic with words, and we're going to make a proposal to the credit union, which I will take to them for I think Lisa and we talked about $25,000 over the next 4 years each year. And that obviously the credit union needs some visibility for that, so that they would be, according to our little new fundraising schedule, would be designated the playground sponsors. Okay, and so that's fairly huge.
Huge.
I know, I think Andrew and Colleen are in shock. Every time they meet, they're
Yeah.
like, wow.
More.
That's
So
great.
anyway, that's pending.
That's cool.
I think that.
Yes, so we will work on that. That is the only thing that has come yet for those classroom sponsorships. So we have the kindergarten sponsored, 1 first grade, 1 second grade, the playground, once we approve with the credit union, and then 1 other sort of floating classroom that we haven't put in a specific place yet because they didn't have a specific classroom that they wanted to sponsor. So we'll keep working on that. Anybody else bring a check?
Man, I'm starting to feel guilty.
Unless you want a $6 bounce.
You don't want any more beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's time to approach some additional businesses or folks in the community with a very specific ask to have them do one of these classrooms. And I know it's hard to ask for money. It is hard to ask for money. And I think the default can sometimes be going to somebody who has money and saying, can you give us some money? But I found that it is much more successful to go to that person and say, can you give us $25,000? Like, tell them what the dollar amount is that we need. And then we're more likely to get the amount that we want and that we need for that sponsorship. We still need to raise $55,000 to pay off the rest of furniture. Is what we have outstanding, which is basically either 2 classrooms at 25,000 each, and then another 5,000, or some of these other smaller ones to add up to that. But I think it's very doable. But we're gonna have to start asking for more money. And it's the start of the year, which means people have their RMDs to give out, they have their new budget. Like, this is the time that we need to be going and asking for the money before they give it out for 2026. So if anybody is interested in doing that, please talk to me and we'll come up with a strategy of where you should go and how much you should ask for.
We are on the Heritage Fund.
We are on the Heritage Fund.
The only challenge I have with that, and I did bring that up at the community breakfast I went to last month, but they do not give the new list out to all employees. Once you're hired, you see the list, but you have to come in on your own accord to say, hey, I no longer want to give to the Little League. I want to shift. I wonder if there's a way to create, hey, take a look at the new list and send it out to every employee. I know that's a huge ask, and we're talking not just here, but all over. Yeah.
And I don't work there, and I don't.
Oh, I thought you did.
I did.
Darn
I
it.
left.
Make some connections.
I do know people who.
Okay, good. Because that is unfortunate. There's people who give to the Little League. I know that the Little League in my hometown gets astronomical amounts of money because they were one of the first ones to get on there.
It's autopilot.
It's autopilot. And they're like, and then all of these new organizations are like, what? I think like $2.17, whatever. And they're actually, if people knew, they would switch.
Yes, I agree. I've also got a couple of volunteers working on the library because we have a whole bunch of books and things that have been very generously donated to the library, and they're currently sitting in sort of categorized piles around the room, which is a great first step. But I've recruited several people with some help to get the library going, and I've also asked NGM for a laptop, an old laptop that we can keep in there that could just run the library Excel database, which is probably what we're gonna start with, but something so that it's not an extra expense or some equipment. So we'll see what they say about that. That's all.
Questions?
Keep up the good work.
Yes. E, update on mascot development. I do see some visuals of.
All right, so our final, left the fun for the last. So this is our current mascot development procedure, and just did you guys hear our update? So we are the Lions. So this was the original lion that was provided to us that we're working from. And it is important to us that we're trying to honor the students' presentation of this lion, especially for this go round. And I think, again, this is one of those things like we are in an inaugural situation. And so these are the progression. This is where we've landed right now, trying to make a softer, gentler lion. This guy was a little mean, we decided. Softened him up a little bit. And this is a hand-drawn logo or mascot. So it's not using graphics from like AI. This is an artist is donating his time for us to hand draw our logo, our mascot guy. So this is where we are. Questions, comments, feedback? We'd like to get this to the point where it is the first one, and this is not what we have to have the rest of our lives and forever, but I do think it would be fun to honor this and try to align as much as we can. And then at the appropriate time into our future, perhaps we update it to something different. I don't know what that even means at this point. But the reason we would like to move forward sooner than later is because we did our first round of Student of the Month. And so, of course, we want to get t-shirts. And so the Student of the Month will have their special t-shirts. We also said in our handbook that we would have spirit shirts on Fridays. And so this guy would be on our spirit shirts, and kids would be able to wear this in lieu of their uniform shirts on Fridays. So we want to get that rolling. So these are all the things we're working towards to do something with that guy. So I guess I'm just updating you, comments on final renditions.
One, its head maybe a little teeny bit smaller because it interferes with the Nevada class. I mean, I don't know if you can do that, but just make it with a little bit more room from the wording to the.
You want them to
the hairline
in the negative space there.
I like the first guy.
I do too.
You put the logo on that second guy, you can still use him around the campus because he's a good elementary, this guy.
Can't you just stick?
Oh, this guy?
You can put a little logo on your shirt and that can go all over the school because it's a.
The
good
mouth is
elementary
wrong,
business.
really. Teeth are wrong.
Mhm.
Well, I like the first guy.
The teeth are wrong.
Or you like the original hand guy from Maybelline, Miss Maybelline? I think he's adorable.
He's the best.
He's so cute, whoever drew that.
Well, could we just,
Very nice.
we didn't even think of that. We immediately went to
I like
some
the,
level of professional.
the new drawing to me seems harsher than the other
I
ones
think they
because
should
of
put that
the,
guy in the middle of that.
so you have more pointy mane.
Yeah,
That's hard.
yeah.
Where it's rounded on the two above it, that's softer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
From
it's a little too big, just-
From a marketing perspective anyways.
Reminds me too much of the Starbucks logo.
Yeah. Better than the one that's there.
Okay, I'm kind of thinking what Dorothy's saying. Maybe we just roll for the first year with this guy.
Because it's not it's not forever.
It's not forever, and this is truly student driven.
I think that's
I think that's adorable.
Make that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not your final. I mean, when you get secondary, yeah, that's not gonna.
No. And we still need probably something a little
Well, yeah.
professional for other
Yeah.
purposes.
But it would buy us more time to.
Yes, to
Which
kind
is
of,
my concern.
Get that for
we need
spirit.
to do
Get that for
Put the Nevada Classical Academy around that line and it would be perfect.
I like that.
He's so good.
Isn't he?
Yeah, I'm.
We should get stickers made too, so all the kids can have.
And if you knew Maybelline, this just matches Mabel. This is her in lion form.
Super cute.
She is
Her
just,
ears, I mean,
she's just a joy. Okay, well, I think that would be super fun and that buys us some more time to work out the formalities of a formal one. And it really, and this is adorable. I mean, how could it be better?
So what we did, like the one on the next to it, the little cartoon one, if you put a little tiny logo on it, doesn't have to be fancy, but when you do your letterheads or you send stuff home with parents or you put it on your Facebook, he's cute. You know, this is still an elementary school, that's just a K school. So there's nothing stopping you.
Stolen off the internet, so.
Yeah, well, you have to
Yeah.
modify, use your artistic.
The teeth gotta be fixed.
You can't have beaver teeth?
Yeah, 10% change and then.
I think I got a shield.
Which
Yeah.
Which one?
This
The
way?
one in the shield, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I like most.
I do too, even has little, you guys.
It's simple. There's not a lot of,
Okay, well,
action. It's just, I like that one.
okay. Good, well, great feedback. All right, well, that's all we needed was
That's how
just,
branding works. You have to like something about everything and.
Yeah, it actually.
Smash them all together.
it's so exciting.
I love the little.
Oh, and I have to play one thing. Oh, let's see. I don't know if this will work. We have a school song.
Oh, my goodness.
I heard about the school.
Wait, how did this come into fruition?
So this is Joe. So Joe, number one volunteer coming in, doing one of our number one, not the number one of our number one volunteers.
Young man who was doing the piano today?
No, this is Joe DeBraga.
Oh, Joe.
He is on an AI kick like none other.
Oh, no, my brother Joe.
Oh.
Joe is on the
Take
same
it back.
We get daily tips.
He's using it for good. He is using it for good because he and I had the conversation. Okay, I hope you can hear. If nothing else, you'll get a feel for the beat. This is our Friday song. Oops.
Walking through the doors each day, smiles and backpacks on our way, learning, laughing hand in hand, we're the pride of this bright land. I can brave and magical. I send my ticket on this, the last week. Reading stories, sharing kind words, counting stars and counting numbers, helping we lead with care, every day stronger. We are ready. Together.
I can see you sitting up.
Put in all the keywords, to make it up.
Lions full of pride, voices rising, so proud.
Oh, my goodness. I think the next thing the teachers can memorize.
It's a little long for memory.
Yeah.
For me, well, I know.
I picked Abby up from school on Friday. I brought her home. She's always tired after school. She came in, set all of her stuff down, went over to look at books, and she was sitting on the carpet, and I was in the kitchen, and she said, "Mommy." What is it, sweetie? And she said, "The best thing ever happened at school today." And I said, what was it? She said, we have a song.
Oh, how cute.
She was so excited. I said, can you sing it to me? And she was like, I don't remember all the words, but, and she was like dancing and
Oh,
just,
yeah.
I mean, she was
And you
so
do that on
excited.
Fridays, you said?
Yes. So this Friday we'll give them the words and we'll start letting them internalize it a little bit.
The word put on the screen, is that how?
It's so fun.
We'll put them on our wall, yeah.
Amazing.
She was so excited.
That's adorable.
And then just one more note, on mascot or just developing school culture. I probably should have just put school culture. So after our crazy Friday, a student came early, a parent came to pick up a student early. So I came and got them. And as I was walking back, she says, this young student says, Dr. Tron, do you know what the worst part of school is? And after the Friday I had, I was like, oh Lord, here it comes. And I said, tell me, what is the worst part of school? And she looks at me with these beautiful eyes and says, going home.
Oh.
Made your day.
All right.
Wow.
So anyway, the culture of our little school is growing fantastically.
We need to add that to the Facebook post.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
Yeah.
gathering
Which part of
posts
that day?
from students and parents and volunteers.
That's
That's cool to hear.
Yeah, it's good.
amazing. Wow. Okay, that's a great note to end on, but we're not done. Public comment and board members. Public comment.
Nobody's online.
Hearing none, we'll go to number 11, board member reflection. And I'm gonna start, because I've got a couple little things. First one is we put in for the Opportunity 180 grant. And I thought I had it all done because it was actually two parts. I submitted one part and I went in and submitted all of the financial information and our 501c3 and all the legal stuff. And I forgot to attach the first part of that because I got so caught up and, oh, I got to get that information from Randall. And there was a little narrative piece where you just have to put name of school and kind of what your objectives were. And so anyway, we did not get moved into the next level because 1/3 of the application was missing. So that was my fault. I told Randall today that I fixed, because I was perplexed. What do you mean we submitted both parts? The one part had two things anyway. So she said, maybe, I love what she said, maybe that it's an additional grant. It's a lot of federal expectations. It's another whole financial piece that either Cam would have to pick up and help us with. You can't put more on her plate. So she made me feel better, probably just instead of calling me from the on. So it's like maybe there's reasons for everything and that's not all negative. So I appreciated that. The second thing is I came a little bit early today and it was a fire drill and I've worked in schools for 30 years. That is the loudest fire drill horn. But when they left, they exit and they go out this little back and they go over to the vacant lot next door. And luckily the weather's been manageable, but we probably need to start thinking about gravel or something over there because those little kids were getting stuck in the mud and it hasn't even been bad weather. So if they have to go out there when it's really nasty, that's going to be a big mess. So I don't know if we can maybe hit up some companies or we can get some up to.
I can ask Dale Construction, you just might do that.
Yeah, it'd be nice to
just
not
gravel?
hit up Stephen only because
Okay.
it turns out our rent.
Do you know anybody more than I?
But we'll have to check Stephen.
Yeah, we'd have to coordinate.
Permission.
Oh, yeah, well, maybe Stephen would do it.
Let's look for options. Let's come to him with a solution.
Yes, that's
Okay.
what we'd like to do, improves the law
I
and protects our kids.
I can look for the gravel if somebody can ask Stephen.
I'll get with him for the gravel. Yep.
Yeah, something because it's not even wet really, but it's still messy. We would have had a typical winter, that would have been,
So,
it would have been disastrous. And you might still have snow, but at least gravel underneath, so they're not sinking. Because today they were sinking, one little grade level was on this little island.
They were sitting- I should have taken a picture of them.
Supposed to be in a line, but it was too much mud, so they were all covered.
They like found the high ground and they're all
Yeah,
huddled.
they were very resilient. And then the third thing is Brandon's going to be gone the last week in February. And so if anybody's willing to come in for a day as the sort of sub, that would be a lot of fun. So there's 3 days left. Tim and I already signed up.
Oh, Simpson.
Yes.
And the real help there is just to be a body, because like I spoke about in my school report, every body has a job, and it's just nice to have a body. So when I'm not here, they'll feel, not because I'm that important, but because they'll notice I'm not here to do the things that I usually do. And it's like recess duty is one. Call when you need a kid transported, go pick up a child, go help with something. Like you saw our little guy kind of melt down. It's a lot of that, helping like just comfort a child until we figure out what the next step is. So yeah, it would make me feel better leaving if I knew somebody was here.
And you can talk to Kim too, I'm sure she would.
Yeah, she'll come.
And today was very clear, I told him.
Do we have more than one person a day for a support group?
Yeah, you need
of
someone
course.
to back you up.
Pretty good, but.
You might have to comfort Dorothy.
So hey, can I sign you up?
So that's Saturday.
There you go.
Like a team. I like that.
Tell me what day.
We're on Wednesday, the 25th, thanks.
Well, next month you can give us a reminder.
I'll give you your schedule, yes. And the biggest thing is lunch recess.
I have a partner.
I have a cute story that just dawned on me when you said that about just being available, because she's out on duty every day. Well, this little guy he runs into another kid, he falls down and he's laying on the concrete, having a moment. And the teacher came up and said, "Do you need to see a nurse?" He said, and then his little friend said, "Maybe you need to go to the doctor." And he goes, "Yeah, I better go see Dr. Thrawn."
Close aware now.
Maybe he felt better. He's doing good. So that was hilarious. And then I think the last thing is the piano playing during lunch. I just wanted to give huge kudos to that young man. That was really
We're hoping to get more of that.
Yeah, that was nice.
We've reached out to some piano players in the community to see if they'll come in during lunchtime and play.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was neat. It was wonderful. It wasn't just
That's another thing we should video and put on social media.
Oh,
I bet you don't see this in your kids' school. I mean, you don't say those worked out.
Yeah.
Wow, what we are.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Your kids could be.
I'll
Yeah,
get
that's a
that.
good idea.
I'll capture it.
Yeah.
It reminds me, like spending a lot of time at U and Huntsman, and both of those lobbies have piano players throughout the day.
Thank you, Jamie.
When you're walking through there, it's a whole different environment.
It is.
It changes your mindset.
Beauty. It's beauty, right? Our soul knows
It is.
beauty.
You don't realize it.
Question about it.
So Troy Airport, the piano out there.
Oh, really?
Somebody's always sitting down and playing.
Nice.
So anyway, those were my reflections.
I have just one it's really not even my idea, it was Rex's, but I think it's an absolutely great one in that he suggested that we as a board, and, perhaps include the school leader, send out thank yous to all of our first year parents for trusting us this year with their children and to, made that commitment to come to our school when it was pretty risky and it's a new school. So, I don't know if who feels adequate at pinning that, but I think it would be great. We can, just send out a letter or maybe
Or a postcard.
or a certificate or just something to say thank you for giving us the opportunity and chance.
Maybe we could get some stickers made with our little lion on them.
Oh, that'd be
And we could
fun.
Put them in the letter.
And
An NCAE logo and a lion and a
Stickers, yes.
go Lions sort of.
I like that.
Put it
Okay.
on the back of their bumper.
Yeah.
Bumper sticker.
Do we have a official stationery or anything like that?
And I
I have
have
some.
I have a letterhead, but it's very
We
boring.
might even be able to use the new thank you cards with saying just
Oh,
input a
we could
thank
get
you
more.
to the parents, and then like Lisa says, the sticker with the lion and sign it from the board.
Yeah.
We can do our signatures and,
I do
I
think
think
personal
that-
signature.
I mean, I really do think we need to give these parents credit for making this leap.
I
I
agree.
think that's true. We can use, this is you won't be able to see it great on this screen, but this is our first inaugural inaugural.
Dim the lights.
That we will get printed to go by the quilt. If this works. Can you see it?
Oh, I saw it inside, it says.
Yeah, I think that would be so cool to put that and just say thank you for trusting with your child or.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
It
great.
would be awesome. And the lion, the cute little lion.
Have we had these printed?
I have one set, just of 50 coming.
We do
Postcards.
postcards, you can do postcards,
It's a
yeah.
postcard sort of thing, but we could do more.
Yeah, we could redesign this as a. thank
Yeah, as
you,
a front-
with the writing on the inside, the message already written, and then just resign.
Yeah, yeah,
Not for a sticker.
yeah.
That's a great idea.
Okay, yeah.
That's a great job for a PTA when we get one too, because then they take on.
See, that's why we need the
It's gotta be
PTA.
tasks. Yeah, it's
We
like,
did,
oh, it's not just more on, one file on more. That's a great idea.
Well, but that should come from us anyway. I mean, it shouldn't have come from the PTA.
No, but they would help get everything assembled and ready to go for you, and put it in the envelopes and address it. Just all the little things. I guess you could send them a little kid.
Well, I'm happy to address that. I mean, there's got to be a master list for the kids and their parents' address, where it can't be that really
In the
easy.
campus, yeah.
We can do that easy.
Very nice. Are all of the kids in that picture? Except for the 3 new ones?
No, this was actually a Friday. This was just before Christmas break and there were
Oh.
quite a few missing, like the McCanns aren't in it. There's quite a few that aren't in it. We just grabbed it. It was a last minute, like, let's do this. And I ran up next door to the gym and said, can somebody come take our picture? And we put the ladder out there, put it all together. We printed off the big letters. We're like, let's just do this right now.
And then,
I just have one, which is more of an update. I heard back from Katie yesterday on the edits that we have to make to our bylaws. And it looks like she was pretty thorough in, her recommendations and her changes. So we weren't able to get it on the agenda for this meeting. We need to add it as an agenda item for the next meeting so that we can vote because the SPCSA had asked for the edits by March. So I will clean up the comments that she sent to me so that there isn't any extra stuff in there that you don't need, and then I'll send it out to the board so that you can look at the changes that have been made and see if you have any questions or concerns. And then we can vote to approve them at the next meeting based on whatever edits we need. It's all pretty straightforward.
nothing significant that's gonna cause a glitch.
No, it was all the stuff that SPCSA said, where they said like, your comment in section 10 doesn't align with NRS, whatever. And I didn't know what exactly it was in each of the things, so I asked for her help. I started to do it myself, and then I realized that somebody else could do it a lot faster if they knew what they were talking about. So I asked for her help. And it looked, there were even a couple places where she said, I don't know why they made this comment because that's already included here or whatever. So there's nothing crazy. Just stuff where we had not clearly outlined typically enough in there.
So these are just updated edits to what?
To the bylaws.
To the bylaws.
Yes, to the bylaws, but we will have to
Fairly minor.
vote to approve them.
Okay.
Fairly minor, some things that weren't clearly lined out, some things that were contradictory to NRS that we have to change. Sure. I mean, none of it is really subjective. So I think it's a pretty easy review, but I do want to make sure that we get enough eyes on it, that everybody reviews it so that there aren't any things that might cause an issue.
Okay, next meeting in February is. It's 17.
Yep, February 17th. At 2 p.m. again,
What's the date?
17th. That's the third Tuesday is 17th.
I might not be able to make that, but just, look, this lets me, whatever. I can ask him to take the minutes.
And meeting adjournment. Meeting is adjourned. You can cross off for possible action after meeting adjourned.